Well, how's it going, guys? So great you could join me. It is officially 3 o'clock Eastern Time. My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jared Bear. Today's date is Sunday, December 4th, 2022, and this is the Sunday video update. Joining me off camera this week is my dad. If you can see him behind the light, the glare from the light, I'm sure you can see him now because he's sitting. And then we've got Amy over here off camera on the other couch, and she, in her low voice, says hello. But anyway, so glad you could join us. We're going to be here until 4 o'clock, roughly, give or take a couple of seconds. So if you're new to this channel, I just want to remind if you're new here, it's not a reminder. If you're new here, I'm just going to tell you that every week, or mostly every week, at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, I come here on my YouTube channel. I give an update on how I'm doing, and I share events from the past week, and to just kind of keep everyone in the loop on what's going on in my life. And I usually stick around until about 4 o'clock. Um, when I first started doing Sunday video updates, they actually weren't even on Sundays. They were just, whatever, whenever, kind of like my daily rant recordings. But then I decided that Sunday would be the designated day for Sunday video updates. And most of the time in the beginning, they were pre-recorded. And then I think it was, I'd say, I don't know, a couple years ago, I decided to do the live streams, which makes it much more easier, and it's more expedient, and it's more expeditious getting the videos out. So that way I can just record it and be done, and I don't have to go through and do all the editing. The chat logs are open. If you come in, be respectful. Otherwise, I will ban you permanently. And looks like we've already got someone in the chat log. Let's see who it is. Someone under the name of, oh, that's interesting, Crispy Tortoise. They say, I love bacon. Well, me too, Crispy Tortoise. Thanks for the input. I think we all love bacon. But anyway, yeah, come on in, say hello, strike up conversation and chat. I would love to interact with more of my subscribers. And if you're new here, I also want to point out that I do say the F word. If you're not big on swearing and profane language, well, this channel isn't for you. But I do say fuck on occasion, and I say other profane words, the kinds of language that most people would not approve. But I'm not most people, I'm me. And this is my channel, and this is how I choose to do things. So if you think you can handle the fuck word every now and then, welcome aboard. But if not, well, there's another channel down that way that doesn't have swearing. So welcome anyway, and I hope you'll stick around, and I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. So first order of business, I'm going to check with my dad. How was your week, Dad?
Good.
Yeah, my week was good too. It was last week we got that deep freezer, wasn't it? Yeah, we got a new deep freezer from Menards out in Clio, and the service wasn't the greatest because Dad, he's having trouble with his hip, and he wasn't going to walk around the store, so he got one of those electric mobility carts, the Amigos, and we told one of the employees, hey, we would like we want this item. And they said, well, do you need a cart? And I'm thinking, well, we're not going to fit it in the front basket of the fucking Amigo. So yeah, a cart would be nice. Thank you. But that was what I was thinking in my mind. And what I verbally said was, yes, please. Would you please get us a cart? So he wheeled out a cart, didn't bother to help us load it or anything. And Dad had to get off the Amigo, and I helped Dad load it on. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, is that what they call customer service? Is that what goes for customer service around here? It's just ridiculous. And when we got up to the front counter, we had brought it to the attention of the cashier, and she just kind of smirked and, like it wasn't a big deal to her either. So Menards and Clio, you guys can do better. You suck balls at, when it comes to customer service, you suck. Yeah, you could be a lot more courteous, and you could at least offer to help if it looks like someone needs help. That's what you get paid for. So yeah, sorry, Menards, but you guys were terrible at the Clio store. But anyway, we've got our new deep freezer. We've got venison hamburger up to the wazoo. and steaks and back straps and shoulder roast and yeah, you said back straps. It'd be, I guess it'd be tenderloins, wouldn't it? Yeah, and venison chops. I did make another batch of my chili yesterday, and it turned out great. Uh, and actually, that was what I planned for the entirety of yesterday, was to just, get everything around, prepare it for my chili, and go ahead. Well, I did make a big batch of my chili. I actually made 2 batches because I thought our friend JR was supposed to be over today or last night, but he had other plans. Oh, he was at a game. Is it the Lions game, right? So, so I made one batch of my chili without onions and the other batch with, because JR can't have onions. He's allergic to onions, but his brother isn't. So I told Dad, I said, well, I can make the batch without the onions now. I can separate that by putting it into a separate dish and then just go ahead and add the onion for his brother's batch and our batch, because we like onions in our chili, especially the way I make it. Uh, we got this new kitchen accessory called a samurai chopper, and I thought maybe it wouldn't affect my eyes because I'm chopping it. It's like a slap chop that you see advertised on TV, but it's a knockoff of the slap chop. And I'm chopping the onion and I add it to the mixture on the stove in the pan, and it still burns my eyes. And I'm thinking, there's got to be a better way to chop an onion without my eyes burning all the time. I've had a lot of suggestions thrown my way. One suggestion, which I'd never heard before until yesterday, was that you could chew on a piece of bread, and the gas from the onion will draw to the bread. You got to chew the bread slowly, and it'll make your mouth water, but it's better than your eyes burning. I've never heard of that before. Um, I've also been suggested that I put the onion in the freezer or put it in the refrigerator, because it'll, absorb a lot of the gas that's released from the onion. Um, I've even been told to wear goggles, which I've seen people do. I've seen people wear goggles all the time. That's the biggest hurdle for me when it comes to making my chili, is that I can't get over this idea of my eyes burning every time I cut an onion. And yesterday was no exception to the rule. I thought the samurai chopper was going to help me, at least. It just in the, a tiny smidgen would have helped me. But it didn't. But the chili still turned out great. I've had maybe 5 or 6 bowls already since I've made it. And this is no lie. After we had eaten some last night, we fell asleep. Dad ended up taking a nap. I fell asleep in my bedroom. I was kicked back watching TV and I had fallen asleep. And then when I woke up, there was this docu-series, I think is what they call them, a docu-series. But this particular documentary was about the Beatles and their rise to fame, and when they split up and when John Lennon was murdered and all that stuff. Um, so that part I remember, but I slept like a baby after I filled up on chili. It turned out pretty good. It actually turned out better than the last batch I made, because it doesn't have the little burn or the little singe taste to it. But it turned out good. Um, Plans for this week. Oh, where are my manners? How was your week, Amy? I'm sorry. I've just been sitting over here blabbing.
Turned out pretty good.
Turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave her out because
Besides my sinuses acting out.
yeah, sinuses, seasonal allergy.
Headache.
Now, for those of you who aren't aware, my dad and Amy are boyfriend and girlfriend. They've been together for about 20 years now. So Amy is a part of the show. You may not always see her, but you will hear her off camera. What's that, Dad? You will hear her deep voice. Like Robert Stack. This is Unsolved Mysteries. Like that kind of. Well, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not Robert Stack, but maybe Rod Serling, The Twilight Zone. Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, there's another one. But Amy and Dad are boyfriend girlfriend. They've been in a relationship now for 20 plus years, roughly. And she is part of the show. I don't want anyone thinking that Amy's not. She is. She's a part of these updates, as is Dad. Yeah, and it's up to her. If she wants to be a part of it, she can be. If she doesn't want to be, she doesn't have to be. She's under no pressure or obligation. But there are times when I say, "Hey, Amy, get your ass out here and come and join us for this." But yeah, I don't push it onto her. It's all, humor. But yeah, I am single again. I was in a relationship for about 3 months and then I called it quits. I announced this about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Kind of a long story. You'll have to go back and watch a couple of Sunday video updates back. I kind of delve into a little bit of detail about that. But I am a single man. I don't have kids. Never been married, and I gotta say that it's been pretty good. Um, and I actually have some travel plans coming up, but that's not until next year. For one, and for two, I'm not going to divulge into too much information about that. All you people need to know is that I'm planning on going away next year and hanging out with some friends. We're in the process of ironing out some details, and we're gonna make plans to hang out, maybe have a pizza party or whatever. So I'm looking forward to that. This coming Saturday, what's that? Oh, you and Amy are going on vacation next year, huh? Oh, in March. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Good deal.
He wants us to leave before the night 8.
This Saturday, I will be attending a WWE wrestling event. They're coming to the Dow Event Center in Saginaw in Michigan, because this is Michigan for my new subscribers, especially Crispy Tortoise, because I think he's a new subscriber. I will be at the Dow Event Center in Saginaw this Saturday for the WWE Holiday Live Tour. I'm going to be going with a couple of buddies of mine. Expected to be a great show. Matter of fact, I can look up the lineup because I did put this on my Facebook, which, by the way, if you have Facebook, hit me up on Facebook. Let's see here. I did post about it. Okay, this Saturday, I will be attending the WWE Live Holiday Tour at the Dow Event Center in Saginaw. I'll be taking a couple of my buddies with me, and there's expected to be a pretty good lineup. Now, get ready for this if you're WWE fans, and if you're from this area, say Chesaning, St. Charles, Saginaw, Flint, Owasso, maybe, and in this area, listen up. So there's going to be Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, The Miz, Damian Priest, Johnny Gargano, Matt Riddle, Bobby Lashley, Seth freaking Rollins, Austin Theory, Bianca Belair, Bayley, and many more. So they only list a few because I think that's how they prompt people to want to buy tickets, and then it increases ticket sales. They don't want to give it away. Not everyone. Yeah, I don't know who all of them because they only listed a few and what I was able to post on my Facebook. But it should be a great time. And I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been to the Dow Event Center since January, I think, because it wasn't wrestling. That was for the Shrine Circus. That was the last time I was at the Dow. But should be a great time. I haven't been to a wrestling event in quite a while. You and Amy went to a WWE event. Yeah. And Dewdrop and yeah. So that's where I'm going to be on Saturday night.
Claude Van Damme. You see him too?
Claude Van Damme.
Wow.
Claude Van Damme. Claude Van Damme.
Claude Van Damme's a big karate expert. Yeah, he wouldn't be at a little place like that.
He's not in the WWE either.
No, he makes too much money.
Claude Van Damme. Rob Van Dam.
He's not with them. He's with.
He is a Rob Van Dam from Battle Creek, Michigan. By the way, he is a professional wrestler, but he's not signed with WWE.
Kevin Owens.
That's KO. Kevin Owens. And
I think Kevin Owens was there when we went.
yeah. But yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme is not a WWE wrestler. Yeah, I was told that, well, and just to put this out there, it's my friend's sister who bought the tickets. I didn't buy the tickets. It's my friend's sister who bought the tickets, and I'm going to be taking a couple of my buddies with me because for some reason she wants me to take her son and his friend. So yeah, well, yeah, she trusts me, but it's like, okay, I guess I watch wrestling on occasion. I don't keep up with it like I used to, but I watch it on occasion, and she wanted me to take her son with her, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. The only thing I have to pay for is the gas and the parking. But it should be a good show. Should be a great time, actually. I'm going to wear my NWO shirt when I go. Although NWO is a WCW faction, and then they tried to carry it over to WWE, and it died when it came to the WWE. But it should be a great time. I'm looking forward to it, hanging out with some buddies, and yeah, should be a lot of fun. And the doors open at 7:30, and the show I think starts at 8:00. But we're gonna leave early enough so that way I don't have to fight through traffic, and I can just find a place to park. And if the weather is inclement, I want to make sure I leave early enough so that way I can take my time when I'm going, because I'm probably just going to go straight up M13. It takes you right to the Dow, right in downtown Saginaw. So those are my plans for this. Other than that, I have no idea what other plans I have for this week. Last week we paid bills, so I got that out of the way. We paid our propane bill. I made a trip over to Bronner's Christmas Wonderland in Frankenmuth, which, by the way, is the world's largest Christmas store. I was at Billy's last week. I was contemplating going tomorrow night, too, for the Monday flashback. For those of you who are also not aware, there is a country music station in Saginaw. It's 98 FM KCQ, and my buddy Dan Richards has a segment from 7:00 until midnight every Sunday called the Sunday Flashback, where he plays songs by request. And the flashback goes back as far as, I'd say, the 50s. He plays a lot of, from about the 50s to the early 2000s. So there's about 50 years, 60 years of country music by request. So it'll be on WKCQ tonight, and I think, if I remember correctly, Dan Richards mentioned something about playing Christmas country music, which I'm not a fan of Christmas or whatever, but there's a lot of good Christmas music, especially, Christmas country music. So it should be a good show. It should be a good show. Dan is one of my good friends, and I talk to him. I hang out with him when I go out to Billy's on Monday nights for the Monday flashback, which virtually the same thing, only the Monday flashback is not on the radio. It's at Billy's Pine Run Inn, which is at the corner of Vienna Road and Saginaw Road, M54 and M57, just east of Clio. So, yeah, so much to do. And I have friends in low places. Friends in low places. Yeah. What a hell of a way to wrap that part of the show up, huh? Talk about country music and then say, I got friends in low places. Very good, Jerry Bear. So there was something I wanted to kind of talk about. It's been on my mind lately this past week. And so I'm someone who I like to talk to people when there's a problem. And I'm someone who will do anything to find a solution to a problem in the most strategic way possible. I ask questions. Like if there's a disagreement or a conflict between me and another individual, I like to try to converse with that person to find out why they think what they do or believe what they do. And maybe we could fix this problem because there's a conflict of error here. There's a conflict. of thoughts. And when I talk to people and I say, well, why would you think this or why would you think that? Sometimes, not always, but sometimes I always get the response of, well, I don't have to explain to you. I don't have to explain. I don't have to emphasize. I don't have to engage or indulge with you on why I made the decision I made. And this is probably one of the most annoying and aggravating issues that I have come across when trying to solve problems with people. Now, this I don't have to explain to you would apply if I'm asking personal questions. Like, where do you work? Are you straight? Are you gay? Are you Christian? Are you atheist? Are you conservative? Are you liberal? Are you Democrat? Are you Republican? Those are personal questions to which they would be justified in saying, well, I don't feel I have to explain that to you or give my reasons why I am the way I am. That's just the way I am. Okay, that's great. And that would be justified in that moment. However, when I'm trying to find a solution that would best benefit me and the person I'm talking to, the response of I don't feel I have to explain to you just does not fucking apply there. Because I'm trying to find a solution. I'm trying to make sense of why you made the decision you made. It's not a personal decision, obviously, because it's affecting me as well. If you make a decision that is against me or about me, I would like to have that conversation. So it's not a personal thing if it affects me. And I'm just trying to get to the bottom or to the root of the problem. Like, why would you think this, or who or what would ever convince you of this? That's all I want to know. So to the people who are always constantly saying, well, I don't feel I need to explain, either you're running from something, you're hiding from something, or you just don't want to make yourself look even more foolish than you already know you are, because you know that you are clearly in the wrong for believing something for no good reason. And you know that I can logically I can work my way through a discussion or an argument really easy, really simplistically. So if I ask you, why would you think this way? And you say, well, I don't feel I have to explain it to you. You're a fucking liar, because you know you're flailing around. You're trying to avoid my questions. You're ducking and dodging and hemming and hawing. I'm not interested. I just want to know why or what. I know the what. I want to know the why. Why are you convinced of this? Why did you make that decision based on that? I always say, if you have a claim, show some evidence or just go away. But when I have conversations, I kind of want to know the why. Who or what convinced you of this? You don't even have to give the who, just give the why. Why are you convinced of this? What evidence do you have that would convince you of this claim to be true? That's all. This, I don't feel I have to explain, that's getting out of hand a little bit, you know? I think you should have to explain if you care enough about the truth, and it doesn't just involve you, because now you're just being selfish. It doesn't just concern you. It also concerns me if you're, blocking me, or if you've heard something about me and you believe it, and, so on and so forth. If you feel you don't have to explain to me why you're being a total dick towards me, well, then you're just a liar and you're immature. You're not 16 anymore. You are not, you're not an adolescent teen. You're an adult, and you should start acting like it. And those are my thoughts on that. I can hear whispering over here. What's going on? Because that's always
pertaining to your business.
Okay. That's always distracting when I hear other people whispering when I'm talking, and I can hear the whispering. It's a distraction. So that's why I asked.
We're talking Christmas presents, so they don't pertain
to
you.
Okay. Christmas presents never pertain to me because it's supposed to be a surprise. Yeah. But anyway, those were some thoughts I wanted to get off my chest. And every now and again, I'll get some thoughts off my chest. I do it every week, or I have daily rant recordings that I upload to this channel. And that's where I really cut loose in the daily rants. I talk about anything, everything, and I do say fuck quite a bit in my daily rant. If you can't handle the heat, stay out of the kitchen.
I'm getting some of my health issues taken care of.
Okay.
The 6th.
Yeah.
I go to the specialist for my foot.
Yeah.
And then I think it's the 8th. I go for my elbow.
Okay.
They're gonna enlance the elbow and take
Okay.
out the water pocket
Okay.
that's in there that's causing my issues.
Well, the water pocket, you're never dehydrated.
No.
I never realized this, but at the bend of your elbow,
Yeah.
you're supposed to have a little bit of fluid on there so the joints can move.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But I've got too much.
At first I thought she was going to say, I never realized this, but I don't have a hump like a camel where I can't store water. That's what I thought she was going to say.
Your comeback.
That's what I thought she was going to say.
Why don't we?
Because a camel's hump is actually their stomach.
Yep.
That's why.
Minus 30.
But anyway,
My legs hurt again.
so what are you doing, Dad?
Put that gas in my truck. And
I don't know why that cat is scratching at the window. I fed him this morning. I put a big helping of cat food in that dish that's out there, and I put another separate pile next to that.
That or they just may want in because they're cold.
Is it cold outside?
it might be cold out there. Sun shining.
Yeah. Well, looks can be deceiving unless you've been outside already. Shows that it's 38 degrees.
Here they come, both of them.
You
Both
want?
of them are coming down.
So are you letting them in or what?
No.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I had a pretty interesting week. I helped Dad get that deep freezer, and we got the venison too. We got that order from Nixon's because Dad got a 7-point in the backwoods.
You must have ate all the food you gave them, Jared.
They must have. I don't think they chew it before they swallow it.
I don't think so either.
They must swallow it whole because I put a big. Okay, so they've got a dish outside, a designated dish for their food. I had taken a little yellow cup. I took a big helping of it, put it in that dish. Then I came in, got another helping, a separate helping, and put it next to the dish. That way, one would be for baby boy, the other one would be for our cat Thunder.
Yeah, the issue is though, is Thunder. He goes up there, he
Yeah.
eats it all before baby boy can.
Yeah, and then you got to feed them 20 times.
Yeah, and
Well.
so like right now, you already fed him.
Yeah,
It's feeding them now.
yeah.
Thunder come down to eat.
They don't need food.
What do they
There's
need?
food out there.
Okay, so what are they meowing about?
They just want me in,
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
and the place they go to is a utility.
I didn't think they ate all that food because I put a couple of big helpings of food out there for them.
Cats.
And it's like your cats, you should be hunting. That's your nature. You're supposed to be the scavenger. You're supposed to hunt for your prey.
They're kicking ass.
Yeah, I don't care about the game. I don't watch football. I'm doing this right now. Speaking of game, I'm wearing this LSU Tigers shirt that I got from my buddy Jesse down in Louisiana. I got this shirt from Jesse down in Louisiana. So that's LSU, Louisiana State University Tigers. I've decided I'd wear it this week for this week's Sunday video. You both got the coughs today, huh?
That's my sinuses big time.
Yeah. I can't say much because before I went live, I had a can of Pepsi and I started coughing and
We know I ain't
bringing up stuff, but I think that's from the Pepsi.
We know why he's coughing.
Why is that?
That's the stuff he's smoking.
The cigarettes? Oh,
Wait,
okay, the vaping. Yeah. I don't know. I've heard vaping is worse than cigarettes, but then I hear cigarettes is worse than vaping. So
you know what?
There's a conflict.
You know
I
what?
don't know.
Anything you eat's worse than
And the main
Yeah.
reason why is because if you remember back when cigarettes
Yeah.
were under 21.
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago,
Yeah,
but
your
yeah.
teenagers were getting them.
Now,
And then the teenagers are ODing on the nicotine.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, do you on marijuana too?
Yeah, they do OD on marijuana.
Yeah.
Also.
and before my time, they used to advertise cigarettes on the side of barns.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste good like a sugar.
Yep.
There's no flavor. It tastes like toilet paper.
Yeah. Tastes like toilet paper. Yeah, they that's how they used to advertise cigarettes back in the day. That was before my time,
Or
obviously.
if you were watching like wrestling or you
Yeah.
were watching football, they had the bulletins right along the side of the building.
The
you know.
camel.
Yeah.
commercial, too.
Well, like if you go into downtown Owasso, you can see like right at M21 in South Washington, there at the light, you can see on the side of that building it says Quaker Oats.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Where they put in that, I think it's a farmer's market that they put in right there. Well, if you look over, there's a building
Yeah.
where you got that parking lot, and then there's that building, and it's got the Quaker Oats.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's
Where
where they
it's-
usually have Santa Claus at.
Yeah, and I think that's peeling off, or it's just old, and it's wearing away. Now, when I was down in Louisiana a few years back, I was down in New Orleans. They had a great big Zatarain's rice mural on the side of a building, and that's where Zatarain's is from. It's New Orleans,
You know,
so
take a picture of that one in Owasso.
yeah, it's right on 21. Like if you're going, like say you're going towards Walmart,
Yeah.
and like if you would turn this way to go to the Jade Buffet, there's that building right there, and it says Quaker Oats
Yeah, that's where they got the bands and stuff at.
and shit
There now.
and shit.
Yeah, and shit.
Yeah, you can say shit.
That's about it too.
You can say
Fucking shit.
I remember when Owasso was this little bitty town. And
I loved
there wasn't
Owasso.
any drugs or anything besides maybe marijuana.
I loved Owasso back
Owasso was
back-
fucking-
back before all the dispensaries for the medical marijuana, and okay, people smoked their weed fine, but I remember when Owasso used to be a happening place, like
Yeah.
Dad said, and Chesning same way, used to be a happening place. There was always something to do. There were always things to do. They had Roll Haven, and of course they still have the Kerwood Festival.
I guess they shut down Roll Haven.
Oh yeah, they shut that down a long time ago, but it was there used to be things to do in Owasso, just like
They have
Chesning.
Arcade.
Yeah.
You go up above where right there on.
Well, you know what I miss? I miss Kmart in
Yeah.
Corona. I miss Kmart.
Kmart was
They
back-
carried everything.
Anyway, I think
red-
it's right there on
Red light
Exchange.
special.
Yeah.
They had it up above, or actually, it was right there on 21.
Yeah.
And you would go up above, and they had nothing but arcade up there.
Red light
Right.
special or blue light
It's
special.
blue light special.
And then they freaking took that all out.
Yeah. I remember Walmart before they went over to the super center. The old Walmart, in Owasso, because they used to have those double swinging doors that you would walk in, and the double swinging doors you walk out. And then they would have, like a bunch of gumball machines and a bunch of games for the kids to play. And I loved Walmart back then. But it just, I don't know. Then they started adding other businesses, and then they took out Ponderosa Steakhouse, and then they turned that into McAllister's Deli. They put in a Starbucks. They put in a Culver's. Owasso has just changed, and Corona has changed.
Culver, it's so expensive, you
Dram-
can't afford to eat there.
Yeah. Culver's is
Expensive.
outrageously expensive.
Boy, I pay that price
Uh,
for that food there, George. I'm going to Jade, need a fucking Kenford price. I'm going to pay
And-
for it.
And in Owasso, when they expanded on the Memorial Healthcare, I'm not impressed. I know a lot of people might see that and think, "Oh, well, that's nice. They made it look really nice through there." I'm just not impressed. I'm just not impressed because, first of all, it's Owasso. It's not Flint. It's not Lansing. It's little rinky-dink Owasso. They got a hospital there. I was born there, by the way, Memorial. But I remember going down M21, or I'm sorry, M52 at King Street, and Pudgy's gas station used to be there in the corner of the little Sunoco
I
station,
miss that little date.
and we always called him Pudgy. Everybody called him Pudgy. And then across the street from Sunoco was Bannon's IGA. And so instead of getting cafeteria food at the hospital, it was actually nice to have a grocery store right at the corner, because you could just go down the street to the corner, get a pop, a bag of chips, whatever. You're not spending the hellacious price at the hospital for cafeteria food.
And his real name,
Yeah,
nickname was Pudgy.
yeah,
And the reason why is because he was in basketball and all that
yeah.
when he was in school.
But that area has changed dramatically over the years. And where that corner is on the northwest corner, now it's all hospital. But once upon a time, those were houses.
Yep.
I remember those all being houses right there. And
people got out of those houses.
oh yeah, the hospitals bought it from them. They're paying a pretty penny.
Yep.
And even Henderson now. I mean, yeah, Henderson has always been Little Henderson.
Yeah.
That's where my uncle and my aunt live, by the way, my cousins. But they there's a building in Henderson, which I think is really cool. It's got the year 1836 engraved into the top of it. And Dad, you know what building I'm talking about? That used to be a bank back in 1836. Yeah. Yep. That used to be a bank. And they do have a post office in Henderson. They used to have a little convenience store. That shut down because they were stealing.
But now you don't work at you can't walk over to the post office and get mail. Now they deliver it.
Yeah. And there used to be a mill in Henderson. And yeah, it was a mill. They still have the chutes where the trucks would, they would come out of the chutes and fill up the trucks. And well, now that's empty, that's vacant, and it's actually private property, and no one's supposed to go out there. But we've been out there. I've been there, taking pictures and checking it out. And what I like about the older buildings like that is that they used to make like the Purina puppy chow, and you can see the emblem on the building. It's old and it's faded, but you can see it. And when you look at it, it's like Purina puppy chow, no kidding. Or is it Jackrabbit beans? Yeah, Jackrabbit brand beans. Yeah, they'd be worth a yeah, yeah. And it's an old mill. And that little shed out in front used to be a little tire shop. Now that's just an empty building, and it's got junk in it. But you can see over the years the decline of communities over the years. And it's yeah. Yeah. Well, that there's also it's now a residence in Henderson. It's on a street corner. It's on Main Street and is it Bingham Road? I think it is. It's at the corner of Bingham Road and Main Street, that one road that only goes this way. That house on the corner used to be where you get tickets to get on the train, because the tracks still go through Henderson. So that used to be a train depot where you can get your tickets to get on the train. So there's a lot of history. And my Uncle Danny, be his brother, he tells me all kinds of different things about Henderson. The white house that used to be across the street from him, that 2-story house, that used to be a brothel. Way back, like in the day. Though that used to be a brothel, a whorehouse. Yeah, many moons ago. And that house is still standing, but the whores are gone. I've checked. They're gone. And they used to ride their horses. They used to station their horses there too, which is weird, huh? Yeah, I don't know now. I think it's empty. I think it's up for sale. Remember, Uncle Danny said it was up for sale. But they're like, okay, Spring Grove and Owasso.
Yeah.
They used to be Murphy's when I was a kid.
Aunt Phil used to work there.
And Murphy's was a 5 and dime store, and they had everything: Brock's candy, cotton candy, popcorn.
Still do, just it's not Murphy's
Used to be-
anymore.
Yeah, and well, yeah, it's not Murphy's anymore, but they used to have everything at Murphy's, just like at here in Chesaning, they had Ben Franklin.
59-cent airplanes where you
Yeah,
lined 'em up and
yeah,
stuff.
like the rubber band
Yeah.
kind of airplanes, and they had like up at Little Giants in Chesaning, there used to be a store called Little Giants. Now it's a Rexall store. By the way, that's where they also sell liquor. Can you believe that? And
Drug store,
yeah,
sells liquor.
yeah, it says Family Rexall. The sign up top says Family Rexall, and it says liquor
All kinds
right
of
underneath of it.
Yeah,
all
right
kinds of
there.
cough medicine.
All
Right
kinds
there
of
on the
cough
corner,
medicine.
yeah.
Yeah, all kinds of cough medicine. Grandpa's cough medicine. Yeah, that used to be Little Giant, and that was a variety store. They carried everything. Everything.
Sure, I would
Um,
right there, that when you go into town, that curve right there, there's a store right there.
Yeah, well, along the boulevard, there used to be all those used to be businesses through there.
A store there. Now they made it into a Chinese place.
Well, all those the buildings along the boulevard,
Yeah.
those all used to be businesses through there. When I was growing up, when I lived there, those were all businesses. IGA was where Dollar General is now, and Jim Schultz passed away this year. He was in his 90s. He was up there in age, but he used to own the Pick and Pay IGA is what it was called. I remember that like it was yesterday. But these towns have changed so much, and we're kind of getting into the history of Chesaning and Owasso, and well, in Oakley, if you go down Root Street in Oakley, you go to the end, you go by an old schoolhouse. Yeah, Oakley used to have its own school district, and my mom attended Oakley schools when she was a little girl. And the building is still there, but Oakley is now part of the Chesaning School District. So
They made it into a dispensary.
so that is a dispensary. Yeah, and it was an old schoolhouse.
They're making it into one.
Oh, they're making it into one.
There
Okay.
could be another one.
But that building there on Root Street, and I can't remember the name of the other street that intersects, but that was a school. And my mom used to attend it when she was a little girl. So there's, everything's changed so much. I don't know. And it hasn't changed for the better, in my opinion. I mean, it's, you can see that, like the landmarks are still there. Most of the landmarks are still there, but everything has changed so much, not for the better. It's all been modernized to fit the generation, to appeal to the generation that will give them business. And that's how it works. That's how it goes. Because if you think about it, I mentioned horse and buggy. I can't imagine or picture that being the only means of transportation back in the day, but it was. This was long since before automobiles, the invention of cars. So yeah, horse and buggy, that was the means of transportation way back in the day. And we can't imagine that because we weren't alive then.
Still today, your Amish is that way.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying this was before
Yeah, before all that.
automobiles, before gas powered combustion engines. Yeah. Before gas powered combustion engines, you had horse and buggy. That was the only means of transportation back in the day. And yes, while you still see it from, like the Amish, and at times you'll see it out in Frankenmuth, they'll give the horse and carriage rides. But now we have electric vehicles. We can't picture that because we weren't alive back then. Now, the generation that we grew up in, where we remember towns having the different businesses and everything being cheaper. Now, this generation here can't imagine these towns being how they were back then when we remember it, because everything has to stay modernized to keep up with the times and to keep up with the generations and to appeal to the up and coming generations to draw on business. That's how businesses thrive and survive. So, but I do miss a lot of the old stores in Chestnut.
Miss my dad's store.
I miss Ben Franklin. I miss Little Giant. Um,
I'd like to go in there.
Now they got that new place coming in.
you know, when J.C. Penney was opened in Owasso, right there, kitty corner from Jade Buffet, for those of you who might be familiar with Owasso, my mom used to take me there to get my hair cut. And back then, no, it was J.C. Penney's where I used to get my hair cut.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we had this television set. I think it was made by RCA, and it had the top knob, twisty knob, and the bottom twisty knob. And the rabbit ear antenna was built into the television set. And all you had to do was just kind of wiggle it, you know, until you got enough perception or reception coming in. Perception. Wow, I'm getting my words fucked up. But anyway, you would have to adjust the antenna until you got good enough reception. And so we don't have now it's all digital television or satellite TV or Roku or whatever hell else they got, Netflix or whatever, you know, whatever else they got. These were the days before all of this stuff came to be, way before Netflix. And, you know, I remember that analog television. The VCR, we had VCR, a lot of VCR tapes, a lot of VHS tapes. My mom and dad had a Betamax back in the 80s. The first beta movie they had was Firestarter, I believe. It was the original Firestarter with Drew Barrymore. And the generations have changed. The technology changes. Everything changes. Most would say that it has improved, but I'm not impressed with the improvement. I don't see it to be very appealing. Maybe it's because it's different. It's something new that you have to get used to, like cell phones. You know, all this touchscreen stuff. It had taken me a long time to get used to the idea of a touchscreen device, because with a telephone, I come from the generation of you got to dial the plate, let it go back, or you got to you use a push button rotary phone. That's the days that I remember, because when we lived on Chapin Road in the farmhouse, we had a rotary phone. So it had taken me a while to get used to using a touchscreen, a smartphone. This is an Apple iPhone, by the way. And it had taken me a long time to get used to the idea of using this phone. But like everything, you get used to it. You get enough practice at it. You get used to it. And it just kind of grows on you. You know, you get used to certain things. But anyway, things have changed, but I don't think they've changed necessarily for the better. I'm really not all that impressed.
I'm not, because our town ain't nothing but a pot town.
And that's just my opinion. I'm not really impressed.
It's a pot town.
I'm not talking just about Chesaning. I'm talking in general.
They got all the, now that they legalized marijuana, they've got so many breweries, so many, and the state, you know, is making a whole hell of a lot of money.
Well, yeah, the state
Real big.
the state makes a killer profit on the dispense. My throat's getting. Can you give me a Pepsi out of the fridge? My throat's getting a little sore. Thank you. Oh, this talking. I'm doing most of the talking.
I just feel that they should, with the marijuana,
Yeah.
they should monitor.
Monitor.
Yes, it better. Because the thing that's going to happen is it's going to backfire on all of us, because of the fact that so many of them may have been fucking up and getting it when they're not supposed to. So then they're going to stop it altogether.
Right.
And what about us that actually use it for medication?
Well, and in my opinion, people have tried to get me to look at marijuana as a bad thing, and it's not. Marijuana is not a bad thing. It's actually a lot safer than drinking. Although Amy did point out that there have been reports of people who overdose on marijuana. But there have been times where friends, good friends of mine, would want me to look at marijuana or view marijuana in a negative light. And I would tell them that I'm not going to view it in a bad light when in fact marijuana has benefits. And that's why most people, I think, smoke weed because there's benefits to it. Now, if they smoke it to get high or whatever, maybe that's just people with too much time on their hands and they got nothing better to do.
See,
But
I've been smoking since I was 17 years old, and I've noticed that it helps me.
yeah, I mean, if there's some benefit to it, to smoking weed, then I'm all for it.
And
Um,
I chose weed for me over alcohol because
well,
I'm
alcohol
out of control on alcohol.
alcohol can kill you, but with weed, although like you pointed out, yeah, there's been reports of that, but they've been very few and far between.
Yeah.
You don't hear about it all the time.
No.
Don't go down the road on one way.
Liquor will kill you quicker than weed ever would.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit here and say that marijuana is bad. I used to smoke it when I was a teenager, in my early
So a
20s.
lot of your people with like cancer and stuff like
Yeah.
that smoke it.
Yeah, and they eat the edibles.
Yeah.
Glaucoma.
Yeah, and it has medical benefits to it. I know lots of people, you know, their kids had cancer, and I'm not making this up. The parents whose children had cancer, they would give them edibles.
Yeah.
It would ease the pain.
Doctors say it's okay.
The doctor would give the okay, and they were so afraid, they were terrified that someone on social media was going to judge them because they gave their children edibles to ease their pain. And then I would have to intervene in a not so nice way and tell them to back the fuck off because this is working for their kids. They are in pain. They don't want to be in pain for the rest of their days.
Because some of the pills that they
And
give you,
yeah,
for
yeah,
pain,
yeah,
it's a lot easier to eat an edible for young children than it is to swallow a pill.
yeah.
And it takes so long for that pill. It only takes a few seconds for that edible to start kicking in, and they feel good.
Yeah.
There's no pain.
But I guess the point I was trying to drive home is that I'm not going to look at marijuana in a bad way. Most people have asked me, my brother included, asked me why I stopped smoking weed. Like, Jared, it's beneficial. Why did you stop? My reasons for I have a few reasons, but one of the main reasons why I stopped is because I had a bad reaction to some marijuana that I had. And my body doesn't react to it in the same way ever since that incident happened. And secondly, I think for me, I like to use my brain. I don't want to inhibit myself with something that will alter my brain state. I want for all cylinders to be firing all at once at the same time. I want to have full use of my brain. And I don't want to view life through, you know, rose-colored glasses, so to speak. I want to experience reality and accept reality for what it is. And most people, and I'm not here to shun pot smokers. I'm not here to say that weed is wrong, but there are people out there who smoke it because they don't have the maturity to deal with life. They figure if they stay high every day, all day, every day, nothing can hurt them, nothing can touch them, nothing can have any effect.
A lot of that too is your younger generation talking.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. These they're not mature enough to handle what life throws at them.
Right.
And
That's the way to get out of it.
my thing is, I'm 36 years old. Life is not fucking fair ever to anybody.
Right?
But I would rather have the experience of knowing, whoops. I pushed the wrong button. I almost ended the stream.
Uh-oh.
I would much rather have the full-blown experience of reality, not having something in my body that inhibits my brain states where, oh, well, you know what, I don't feel any pain. Yes. And just a matter of fact, Dad and I did go to the back 40 the other night. We did have a few drinks. I had a little buzz going, but I don't do it every day.
No.
I get a buzz going. It kind of numbs the pain a little bit, or numbs my thinking because I'm constantly thinking about things all the time, and I do a lot of overthinking, which is true.
A lot of people don't realize it. They drink
But-
every day. They're killing themselves.
Yes, but my point is, I don't do it every day.
No.
I'm not doing it every day. And when I did smoke weed, I smoked a lot of it in the short period of time that I smoked it. You can ask either one of these two, they're going to tell you. I smoked it with my cousins. I didn't, there was that one time when I went out and bought a bag. There was that one time I went out and bought a bag, and that's the bag that I reacted funny to it, and I went into convulsions, actually. And I'll never touch it again. But I'm not going to say that weed in general is bad.
No.
Some people use it for medical reasons.
Yeah.
Some
people it works for and some people it don't.
But I am also going to say that there are people who smoke it because they're not mature enough
Yeah.
to handle reality.
Yeah.
Well, life isn't fair. Well, you know what? Join the fucking club. Life ain't fair for anybody. It's not fair for me. It's not fair for him, and it's not fair for her. And with the holidays coming up, life hasn't really been all that fucking great in terms of fairness. That's just the way it is. And I try to explain this in the best way that I can to get people to understand. I'm not here to villainize marijuana. I'm just saying that there are people who smoke it because they're not mature enough to handle the reality of life. Reality can be harsh for all of us. And I think if I'm supposed to have these experiences, if this is how I'm supposed to feel, if this is how reality is, or if this is what I'm supposed to be thinking and feeling, then so be it. That's where I'm supposed to be. I don't want something to inhibit my reactionary faculties in my head. If this is how I'm supposed to feel, then so be it. That's where I'm supposed to be. What? 3 minutes? We're already down to the last 3 minutes? Holy shit, we are down to the last 3 minutes. That hour went by. The hour always goes by quick, especially when I'm rambling. But Dad's my designated timekeeper, because he says, "Hey, Jared."
Like, holy shit.
It's like, what? No way. Yeah, we're down to the last 3 minutes already. That hour went by quickly.
But it was a good one.
Yeah, it was another great Sunday video update. So if you're new here, what I generally do before I wrap it up, I will give the floor over to Dad and Amy, because I want them to always be able to leave a final word. In the Sunday video update, we're down to the last couple minutes of the show, but I want to, you want her to say something first. Okay, Amy, any final thoughts before we go? The floor is yours.
Everyone be safe out there if they're doing any traveling this weekend. And be safe. Hang in there, everybody. We'll make it through these hard times.
For sure. Dad?
All I say is same thing. Be safe out there and help your neighbor. And by any chance, if you're in a store and a person doesn't have enough money to pay for something, pay it forward. Help that person out, or just say, "Hey, I got it." I had a gentleman do that yesterday to me. I didn't have enough money on the card, right, Jared?
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, let's put this back." My gentleman and back me, him and his girlfriend said, "I got it."
Really?
So good. I'll pay it forward then for somebody else next time.
That's sweet.
Which I did that. A lady at one of the gas stations here
Yeah.
had bought me a couple packs of cigarettes.
Well, share away.
And she says, "Pay it forward." I said, "Okay." Well, what was it? A couple days later, we were going to the cemeteries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this little boy in, how much was it?
Come on.
Gas station was standing there so polite and everything with his mother.
Right.
No kicking, no screaming, no nothing. Just standing there holding a deuce bottle. So I get up to the cash register, I pick up the tube of mini M&Ms, put it up there. And I said, "Can we ring this up first so I can give it to the little boy behind me?" She said, "Yeah." So she did. I handed it to him, and all you hear is, "Thank you."
It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Made my day.
And I ran into a situation this past week where a friend of mine, and she's a remarkable friend. I adore her. She's remarkable. And she wanted to help spread some Christmas cheer. And I helped put out the word for her on Facebook because I told her I would. And she asked me to, so I did. And as it turns out, there were more people who were just looking for a handout than they were actually wanting to help her to help other people. And then she said, "Could you please just take the post down because it's overwhelming and I feel bad because, I can't help everybody." And I mentioned this in a daily rant, and I'm going to try to wrap this up because we're already at the hour mark. I mentioned this in a recent daily rant that, if you can't help someone directly yourself, you can always point that person in need of help. You can point them in the direction of a reputable program that would be able to best suit their needs, especially for the holiday season coming up because everybody's scrambling right now. But don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up if you can't help somebody. Because even if you point them in the direction of where they can get the help, you're still actually helping them. So if you can't help them directly out of your own pocket, don't feel bad. Everybody falls on hard times. We all have the desire to want to help other people in need. I have that desire every waking moment of my life, and I get it from this guy here. He taught me that.
I never used to be that way. But now I am.
But it's okay to feel bad for not wanting to help somebody, but don't ever regret wanting to help somebody because the world needs more of that. So I'm going to end it on that note. I will be here next week, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'm going to enjoy some WWE wrestling this Saturday, and I'm sure I'm going to talk so much about that. And next week's Sunday video update, you're going to hear more information about that, and I'm going to talk about some pretty cool highlights. And I'll probably have some pictures on my Facebook if you decide to add me on Facebook. But anyway, guys, I am out of here. For Dad and Amy, I am Jared Fuller. I thank you so much for stopping by this week. I will be back next week on the 11th of December. So much love and take care. Have a pleasant week, and we'll see you. Bye-bye.
we gotta figure out.